All right. Well, hello and welcome into the New Normal podcast. My name is Ryan. I am a youth pastor here in the Northern Virginia area. And today I have one of my students here with me, Allie, and we're going to be talking about the importance of Christian community. Why is it important? What are we missing out if we don't have Christian community? What do we get from living in Christian community? And we're going to be unpacking that a little bit more today as we continue to encourage, train, and equip high school and middle school students to live for Christ wherever he has them and to share his message of hope for those around them. And so we hope you guys enjoy this episode today. So check it out. Now, Allie, you are in public school. So you're in high school, one of our public schools. And so this idea of Christian community is a little bit different maybe for you than maybe somebody who's homeschooled or as private school, because they might have built-in Christian community, right?
Right.
But we know that God has designed us to live in community. At the very beginning, he creates Adam and Eve, and he creates Adam, and then what's he say? He says,
it is not good for man to be alone.
Yep. So even from the very beginning, even before sin ever entered this world, we see that God has designed us to be relational beings with one another in community. And so today we're going to unpack that a little bit more. But before we do, I'd love for you just to share your story with those who are watching or listening. The way we like to do that is kind of, what was life like before Christ? When did you make a decision to trust in Jesus? And how has he kind of been molding and shaping you into what he wants you to be since then? So why don't you fill our listeners in with that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I trusted Christ at a very young age, like many people here at youth group, and I was 5, and admittedly, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just happy that my parents were happy with me and that they were excited, and everything was great. But as I got older, I understood more about what it was. I got baptized, and I kind of more understood what I was doing then, especially since coming to youth group. Now I've been learning more and more about it, how to share it, and that being a Christian is more than just saying the prayer and then just moving on with life.
Yeah.
It's, sharing it with other people and reading the Bible and, just being a light for Christ.
Yeah. No, I love what you said. Being a Christian is more than just saying that prayer, because there's nothing magical in those words that we pray, right? There's no magic formula. Really, all at its heart, just being a Christian just simply means you've given your life to Christ. And the way that God calls us to do that is to confess, admit that we have messed up, and give our hearts and lives to him and say, Jesus, I know that you are perfect. You have not messed up. You are who you say you are. You paid the penalty that I couldn't pay by dying on the cross. You've risen from the dead. God, because you live, I can live too. Will you please save me from my sins? And there's no magical words in that, but that's simply what the Bible says. Romans 10, 9 through 10, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. There are no maybe or ifs. It's like, no, that's all it is. So that's really, really cool. I appreciate you sharing that. I know a part of your story too is Christian community. And what God's done in your life through church and through youth group and through your parents who are helping you kind of, they're modeling this for you of what it looks like. And so I know that's played a huge role, but could you talk about that maybe a little bit more about specifically what kind of Christian community what role has that played in your life as you've grown up in this? But maybe times and seasons that's changed a little bit. Why Christian community? Why is it so important, and what role has it played in your life?
Well, I've been coming to youth group, which is my Christian community, since I was in 6th grade. And I will say the first time I came, I was not impressed. Honestly, I thought it was boring. I was like, I just wanted to get out. But my parents kind of made me keep going.
Hey.
Like, hey, you'll get used to it. You'll like it.
I love hearing that though, because I talk to parents and they're like, my kid doesn't want to go to youth group. And I always ask them, I say, do your kids always want to go to the dentist? And they're like, well, no. It's like, does your kid always want to go to school? Well, no. It's like, but you still say, hey, you should go. This is important. And so many parents are nervous. It's like, well, if I make my kids go to church, then they're going to hate it and they're never going to go. And it's like, no. That's not how life works. So I am very thankful that your parents said, no, Allie, we're going to keep going. You're going to keep doing this. But I didn't want to interrupt you. Just keep going.
No,
but
it's okay.
That's one thing that I'm super passionate about. But yeah. Okay, cool. So you weren't quite sure at first, but.
Yeah. But I kept going. I met people who really changed my life, and RVR, the youth retreat that we always go to, that really helped too, because I realized that I was really part of something, and it was cool and it was fun, and I wanted to do it next year. So I kept coming, and I really grew with these people, and now I feel like I'm really part of a family. Last winter and fall, I kind of wasn't coming to youth group as much because I always had an excuse. I had schoolwork. I didn't feel like it. I was tired. We got home late, all that stuff. But then I started getting, really stressed out and anxious about school, softball, all that stuff. And I was like trying to satisfy myself with things I found in the world, like fidgets and songs, which isn't bad, but I was missing the one thing I needed. And I think that's what I really realized. Like when New Year came, I was like, okay, I need to get to youth group. Like this is getting out of control. And so I came to youth group more, and I haven't missed a day since the start of the new year. And I've felt the difference because I feel so much more like myself again. I feel like, the stress and stuff has really calmed down, and I feel part of a community again. And I'm encouraged in my faith, and I'm telling other people about it. And, life's not perfect, but these people in this community helps a lot. So.
Yeah, that's really, really cool to hear. And that's just cool to hear you share that, like, hey, crazy enough, God designed Christian community for us. So it's weird how when we actually do what he says, things tend to get better and work out. It's crazy that way. It's not always easy. Right. Doesn't mean that life is always easy, but yeah, God has a plan in mind for us. And when we walk in that plan, he's got great things in store. Great things in store for us. Well, yeah. So you touched on it a little bit in your story, but for somebody who's like, hey, I'm spiritual but not religious, which is kind of a big thing to say nowadays. Spiritual but not religious, meaning, I believe in God. I might even believe, what you believe. I might even believe that Jesus died for my sins and rose from the third day. I believe that, but hey, church isn't really my thing. I don't really do church. What would you say? What is that person missing out on who's saying, my faith is private. I just kind of live it out with God. What are they missing out on when it comes to Christian community?
Well, there's so much more to, being a Christian and stuff than just, reading your Bible and telling other people about it. Because, you can be a Christian, but you can't do it by yourself. And, there's so much in the Bible that talks about this. Like in Hebrews, it talks about consistently going to church and how important it is, and how some people miss out on their full potential because they don't, gather with people regularly. And it's just so important to come to your meet with other people, just so that you can be encouraged by them and just really know your purpose based on being with other people.
Yeah,
no, makes any sense.
It does. It does. I think what you miss out on is life as Jesus intended it. When we step outside what God says is good for us, we're going to miss out, because now we're missing out on the best things that Jesus has for us. Right. And it says that the church was bought with a price, and that was Christ's blood. He went through all of this so that we could have the church, not the building, the people. Body of believers. And so if Christ valued it that much, we should value it. Yeah. I think you also miss out on, serving God. You can't serve from your couch. Watching an online service it's good, right? For somebody who's never been to church and they're starting to learn more through online service, that's awesome. Or if you're sick or you're out of town, but you can't serve from your couch. You can't make friends from your couch. You can't live in Christian community from your couch. As much as the world likes to try and make it work that way, you just can't do it.
Right.
So you're missing out on life as God intended it. So that's kind of the negative side. That's true. What about the positive side? People know I should go to church. I should do this. I should volunteer. I should go to youth group. But should doesn't really motivate us, Yeah. I should eat healthy. Okay, but have you ever tried a warm chocolate chip cookie? Should doesn't really always make the difference. we're kind of motivated by fear of missing out or promise of reward. That's kind of at the basic core how we make decisions. Like, what am I going to miss out on if I don't do this? What will I get if I do this? And a Christian life is not a selfish life, but God, has placed things for our good, for our benefit. So we've talked about, what are you missing out on if you're not involved in Christian community? What are the benefits of Christian community? Like, what do you actually get out of Christian community?
Well, I think it really helps to know that God isn't suggesting that you gather with other people.
Yeah.
He commands it. I marked up a bunch of the verses in my Bible that basically say, hey, be with other people. It's important.
Yeah.
And there's so many more than this even. Just like, it's not a suggestion, it's a command. And it's so important because these people, they'll help you grow in your faith. They'll just help you in your walk in life in general. And just there's something different about them, at least the people here. I come in and they're always happy to see me, smiling, no matter what's going on in their life. They always, let me know how happy they am that I'm here. And it's just so different here. And that's why it's so important, because if you just live out there and, don't, gather with these like-minded people, then you're going to miss out on, what God has for you and the place that he has for you to be.
Yeah. No, I love what you said. I think it's really cool. That verse you referenced is Hebrews 10:25, where he says, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. We also know in the New Testament, I believe there's 59 one another's, commandments of love one another, forgive one another. Well, I can't fulfill the one another commands if there's not another, right? So we're called to live in Christian community. I think what's cool too is, when you look at the benefits of being involved in Christian community, Hebrews 10:25, we just mentioned, it encourages us. John 15:19, it helps us belong. As Christians, we're not always going to fit in the world. We have a different value system. We believe different things. Hopefully your Christian community is helping support you and you're with like-minded people. Ephesians 2:8-10, it says we are to encourage one another, for we have been destined beforehand for good works. And so it helps us to find our gifting and see where God has, wants to use us and things like that by being with other people and learning from them. I think that's a big part of it. But interestingly enough, not only does the Bible, of course, bear out the importance of Christian community, we actually see that this is a fact observed just in life. Even outside research has confirmed, hey, there's some tangible value here in church, in playing a part of church. Actually, church attendance is linked to better health. So church attendance is linked to a boosted immune system and lower blood pressure. So helps with stress levels. It actually is linked to better physical health. Couples who attend church together have a lower rate of divorce and a higher rate of marital happiness. So again, that one doesn't really apply to you yet, but this idea that when I do this together, again, it seems like God has a plan. Weird how that works. And it seems to help, what he has designed marriage to be between a man and a woman. And then lastly too, just observable fact that amongst those who who attend church at least once a month, they have a lower rate of depression, about 22% lower rate of depression. And so we see that, when we live life as God intended it, it's crazy how things seem to go better. Again, Not always perfect, not always easy, but there seems to be, hey, God has a plan. And a part of that plan is for us to be involved in Christian community. And the way that plays out is the local church. If somebody is like, well, I'm part of a Bible study. That's great. That's awesome. Are you a part of a local church? Well, no. It's okay, no. God has designed and designated a local church to be the way that this kind of fills itself out. So yes, continue to be a part of that Bible study. That's awesome. That's cool. But we also, we're called to be at the local church so that we can have pastors and, elders who can shepherd us and they'll give an account for us, one day. So that's important too. So, okay, cool. Talked about what are we missing out? What are the benefits? So last one, somebody who is looking to develop Christian community, they want to experience what you've experienced. They've been where you've been, where they kind of felt lonely. They kind of felt isolated. They were walking with Christ, but it wasn't, they were missing something. What advice would you have for that person to help them develop Christian community?
Find, just like find a community near you that you can be part of. If they're truly walking with God and they are following his commands, they will welcome you like their own, and you will be part of their family, like I am here. And if you're unsure about it, just go. Like, don't sit and think about it. Just go, because the more you think about it, like, just no regrets.
Yeah.
Just go, because you won't regret it. And once you do go, be consistent. That's what's really helped me these past few months, just coming and being consistent. I've made new friends. I've gotten to know people better, and just having that weekly place that I can go to get away from the world and to just be with these people that love Christ like I do, it really helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that consistency aspect. Like, you can't just go once and be like, didn't like it, not for me. Yeah, yeah, we have to.
Like like I was in sixth grade. Not my thing.
Yeah, no, we have. Yeah, we do. We have to. We have to push past the awkward. Like, it is a little bit awkward. Just like going to school, your first day is awkward, or the first day you start a job is awkward, or the first day you play a new sport, you're not quite sure what to do. It's the same thing, but like, stick through it, because God says, hey, look, this is the way I've designed you. This is the way I've intended you. And if you're at a local church and you're trying to find community and, hey, it's not really, then, hey, God might have a different local church that he wants you to be a part of. The biggest thing is, do they believe what he says? But then after that, God seems to provide us. He's like, hey, I'll show you where I want you, but keep trying, keep looking, and I'll get you where I want you. The other thing too, I think that helps just kind of contextualize this is understanding how we do build relationships. Men and women are different, contrary to what the world might say. Men and women are different. They've been created differently. We operate differently. So what helped me to learn is that women actually prefer to build relationships face to face. So they love to sit down and just talk. That's why, when you go into a girl small group, like, hey, you guys can talk for a really long time, and it's really cool. When you go into a guy small group, there's not as much talking, it's different. And they're both good. Like, they're both good in their own context, because God has created us differently. And so men seem to build relationships better face to face, women face to face. Men seem to build relationships better side by side. So if you're a guy and you're really looking for Christian community, find a place to serve. And that's great advice for any, girl listening as well too. But find a place to serve, accomplish a common goal with somebody else. That builds unity really quickly. You know that from playing sports, Right. And so understand that, hey, just keep trying different ways to kind of break through sometimes barriers, not actually that they're not friendly, but sometimes, you just have to work through being new or being new to something. Right. But yeah, I love what you said too. Bible says that they will know you are my disciples by the way you love one another. And so if you go to a place that is really following Christ, then they're going to welcome you with open arms, and they're going to bring you into what God's doing there. So I really thought that was cool what you said. Yeah. Before we finish up, anything else, anything that you wanted to say that you didn't get to, or any last word for anybody watching or listening?
Well, and there's so many commands in the Bible that, like you were saying, tell you to love one another. Mm-hmm. Make disciples of all nations. Mm-hmm. There's so many commands in the Bible that you can't fulfill without, being in that Christian community. So it's like, well, I can still follow Christ. I can still read my Bible. I can still live for Christ, and I don't need to be in that community. Well, you kind of do, because, like, how can you love one another if there isn't an example you can follow? And it also just like, it helps you remember that you're not alone. Like, at RVR, one of my favorite parts is always when we're in the meeting house together and we're worshiping with the band and all that. And, I just look around at everybody with their hands in the air, just praising. And I'm usually with my arms around my friends and stuff from youth group. And I just feel like this sense of peace, because I realize that I'm not alone. And I look around at all these other people that are in the same walk that I am. And it's just such a powerful feeling. It like just completely washes away every feeling of doubt and hopelessness that I have, because I'm like, there's all these people that are here to support me. And that's really what the community is all about. support and setting examples and all that, which is really important.
Yeah. Awesome. Don't think there's much I could add to that. I really appreciate you sharing that, Allie. And it's cool to just see, what God has been doing in your life and how he's been helping you share that with others. So I really appreciate you sharing. We also appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you watching or listening wherever you may be, whenever you're watching or listening to this. We're glad that you chose to do so. If you're looking for Christian community, we encourage you to do just that, to keep looking, and God will show you where he wants you, because he has designed you to live in relationship with other like-minded believers. If you haven't trusted Christ yet, go to a Christian community and they'd be happy to tell you what Jesus is all about, and you can ask your questions. They'd be happy to do that. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have as well. But we're so excited that you guys have joined us today. And as we continue on this journey to create a new normal of what it means to live for Christ, we hope that this has been beneficial to you. If it has, please like, share, subscribe, send this to more people as we continue to build a movement of the next generation living and serving Christ. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time.